Okay, for the assignment for this unit, we want you to use a date picker and a calendar to pick dates. So far, we've been using these combo boxes, and it gave us a little experience using combo boxes and setting them up and then grabbing the text values of them. But for real date stuff, combo boxes aren't really very good because they let us input illegal dates. So what I want to do is delete this stuff from this practice exercise, or again, you can create a brand new project if you want. But I'm going to use a date time picker. I'm going to have you do two things. First, we're in Windows Forms, and we're going to use a date time picker to show you how that works. And then we're going to have a calendar and use that. There is a calendar available here that you can use. It's called month calendar, but we're going to use that object when we do the web form. And I'm going to get rid of this button too, because we're just going to have this automatically occur when we change this date. So I've put a date time picker up here, and it's just called date time picker 1, and I'm going to leave that. I'm just going to double click on it, and it brings me into the code for the date time picker. And I'm just going to grab the date. So again, I'm going to, just like I've done before, declare a date time variable and set that equal to the date of this object. So my date time picker is just called date time picker 1, so I can use that. And let's see. Then I just want to grab, I think it's value. So the value is just the date that you've picked. Since I double clicked on this here, it brings it into a special event, the date time picker value change. So whenever the value is changed, the user selects a different date. This method is called automatically. And so then it will run and generate, update what we want. So again, I'm going to grab the date, and then I'm going to also, like I've done before, and I can actually just reuse this code. I'm going to just copy, set the label for the month and the short date to using the date time value, the month and date. Okay. Now there's still some extra code in here from before, and I've deleted these parts, so I'm going to delete this extra code. And in fact, I'm going to just right now delete all these extra methods I'm not using anymore, and then recompile this. This does introduce an interesting thing we haven't talked about, and that is the way this is set up. There's still build errors. I've deleted the items from my form and the items from here, but it's still not compiling right. And when I try to I get this error, and if I go there, it points me to this Form 1 designer. So inside Form 1, there's a C# file, and then there's a designer file. And we've been mainly working with the designer file, but there's a C# value underlaying that. And so I can actually go into that C# area and delete things. So it actually is showing me things like this label that is still there. And so I'm going to delete this line here and then recompile. So you can actually go in and edit your code behind your designer at times. So now I'm up and running. I should be able to select a date, and it should tell me the month and then the short month down here. So that's what I want you to do for this lab, and then I want you to do something similar for the web. So I want you to create a new project, and we want to create a web project, a forms project, and again give it some name. In this project, we want to do something similar. We want it to look like the other one. So I'm going to add a new item to this project, and I just want a web form and call it DateTime 1 time. And then in designer mode, I'm going to add a couple items to this. So rather than using a date time picker, which isn't available, again, not all this controls are available on the web as in the Windows form. So I'm going to use a calendar here, drag out a calendar, and then I'm going to add a group of labels. And then the first label, we're just going to have month, number, have it actually say that. And then this one, we want to say short date. And then these labels we're actually going to use to store these things. So we're going to change their IDs to LBL short, and the one above it to LBL month. And what I want you to do is program this. Again, you can program this calendar, so that when you double click on it, it'll bring up a selection change event for the calendar, and I can then grab that date from that. So I can go calendar 1 dot value. Yeah, I wanted to say value, but in the web, in the calendar, it's a little different. It's selected date. So I can grab the selected date. And I can store that in a date time field just like before. And then I can manipulate that. So what I want you to do is when the user clicks on a date in the calendar, display the month number and the short date version of that date in these two fields. So you should do that all on this web page under the event, again, for when you double click on the calendar, the selection change event for that calendar. So here's a sample of it running. I can again pick a month, click on a date, it'll print the month number and then the short date year of whatever date I select. Okay, so that's what you have to do for this assignment.